Liam Neeson's experience in Turkey offered him a quiet yet profound Islamic lesson. That peace doesn't always come from achievement, but from alignment. While filming there, he heard the adhan, the Muslim call to prayer, echoing through the city 5 times a day. It wasn't just sound, it was rhythm, discipline, and surrender. That moment made him rethink life, how people pause their work, their conversations, even their worries, just to remember God. For Neeson, it revealed a truth often missing in modern life. Real peace is found in letting go, not holding on. The Adhan wasn't commanding, it was inviting. It reminded him that faith isn't noise or control, it's calm, repetition, and grounding. He saw how Islam builds mindfulness into daily life, how it turns chaos into order through simple, steady practice. That became his quiet lesson, that peace isn't bought or performed, it's practiced. The world chases comfort in things, but Islam finds it in rhythm, in prayer, in remembrance. And for a man who's seen fame, loss, and the weight of existence, that realization wasn't just spiritual, it was deeply human. Islam, in that sound, whispered, peace is already here. If you listen to, man, there's something kind of wild about this. When someone like Liam Neeson, who's seen the world, done the fame thing, lived in the noise, suddenly stops and says, wait, what's that sound? And it's not music, it's not applause, it's the adhan, that call to prayer echoing through the streets of Turkey. Imagine that moment. You're this big Hollywood dude standing there surrounded by a completely different culture, different rhythm, different energy, and suddenly you hear something that cuts right through all that chaos in your head. It's not just a sound, it's like a frequency that hits your soul. That's what he said, that it gave him peace. Like real deep, quiet kind of peace. That's rare, man. In a world where everybody's chasing dopamine, scrolling endlessly, trying to escape silence, this dude finds calm in the call to prayer. That's not random. That's something primal, ancient, human. Dada, because think about it. That call, it's been going off 5 times a day for over 1,000 years from every corner of the Muslim world. It's not a performance, it's a reminder. A reminder that, hey, the world's spinning, money's moving, people are shouting, but you got to pause. You got to remember who you are and why you're here. And I think that's what hit him. Liam wasn't listening as an outsider. He was listening as a human being who's tired of noise, tired of ego, tired of the illusion of control. And when that add-on hit his ears, it wasn't just sound, it was meaning. It was like someone saying, hey man, it's okay to stop for a second. There's something bigger than you out here. Ta-ta. And you know what's fascinating? He didn't go there looking for religion. He was filming a movie, just work, just another gig. But that's how life works. The deepest stuff hits you when you're not even looking. He's walking through Istanbul, maybe sipping tea, maybe jet lagged, and then boom, that sound, that slow, melodic, otherworldly voice rising over the city. It's not commercial, not auto-tuned, not about selling anything. It's pure devotion. You hear that and you feel like something inside you just sits up straight, like your soul recognizes it before your mind even processes it. Ta-da! That's what I love about stories like this. It's not about converting or proving anything. It's about connection. You got a man who's been through tragedy, loss, fame, pressure, and then suddenly, in that ancient sound, he finds peace. And peace is the rarest currency today. Right? You can't buy that. You can buy distraction, but not peace. Ta-da, and dude, when you really think about it, that's not just some coincidence. Like, Liam Neeson could have gone anywhere in the world and heard anything. The noise of traffic in LA, the chatter of a film crew, the hum of a city that never sleeps. But the thing that stuck with him, the adhan, a voice calling out across rooftops, not for money, not for fame, not for applause, just to remind people to pray. 5 times a day. Every single day. That consistency, that devotion, that's something the modern world doesn't understand anymore. We've replaced it with alarms and notifications, reminders to check our emails or drink more water, but not reminders to check our soul. And Liam's there, right? He's filming, maybe between takes, and he hears it. That echo through the air, Allahu Akbar, God is greater. And I imagine him just standing still for a second like, wait, greater than what? Greater than fame, greater than fear, greater than all this stuff we think we control. That hits different when you've lived a full life. When you've seen pain, lost people, seen your own reflection under the weight of time and fame, that phrase, God is greater, It feels like medicine. It's like a deep breath after years of holding it in.
Sure,
He said in that interview, and I remember this clearly, he said the Adhan made him rethink life, not religion, not politics, life. That's massive, man, because that's what real spirituality does. It shakes the foundation a little. It's not about signing up for something new. It's about realizing how disconnected you've become. That call, it's not fancy, it's raw. It's ancient sound waves telling you, hey, you forgot something. Look up. Remember? Ta-ta. And, I think that's what makes Islam so fascinating for a lot of people who weren't born into it. It's not the rules, not the rituals. It's the rhythm. The way it slows you down and structures your chaos. You don't need to believe in everything right away to feel it. The Adhan alone, it's like an anchor in a storm. It's got that cadence that reminds you the universe isn't random. It's alive. It's organized. It has order. Tata, man, imagine being Liam Neeson, an actor, a storyteller, and hearing that call, that voice calling to millions across a city, not for entertainment, but for alignment. That's art. That's cosmic poetry. That's bigger than anything Hollywood can produce. And you can't fake the effect it has on people. You see it in his tone when he talks about it. It's not performative. It's honest. That's a man who's tasted chaos and suddenly found silence that makes sense. You know what's crazy, man? Most people don't even realize how powerful sound can be until something like that hits them. Like, think about how much our brains are wired to respond to rhythm, to voice, to tone. Music, chanting, mantra, prayer, it's all frequency. And that Adhan, it's not just a call, it's a frequency of surrender. It's not yelling. It's not desperate. It's steady, confident, grounded. It's like the universe reminding you that you're not in charge, and that's okay. Tete, I think that's what hit Liam. The peace wasn't in the words alone. It was in the energy behind them. You could feel it, right? The guy had been through some dark stuff. He lost his wife. He's talking about grief. He's been face to face with how fragile life can be. And in those moments, man, fame doesn't mean anything. None of it does. You can have all the awards in the world, all the applause. But at night, when it's quiet, you still ask, what's the point of all this? That's where Islam kind of walks in quietly without forcing anything and just says, the point is submission, not in a weak way, in a peaceful way. Dada, because look, we live in a culture that glorifies control. Control your career, control your body, control your emotions. But the more we try to control, the more we realize how little control we actually have. And that's when the idea of surrender, of saying, okay, maybe I'm not the center of this universe, becomes incredibly freeing. And that's what the Adhan represents. Every time that call echoes, it's a collective act of surrender. Millions of people, wherever they are, just stop. Like, that's insane if you think about it. That's discipline and devotion on a global scale. And you know what's funny? I think that's what Liam found magnetic. Not the exotic side of it, not the cultural curiosity, but the order, the peace that comes from having something to anchor your day around. He said it himself, that it made him rethink life. That's not small talk. That's an actor who's been in the machine of Hollywood, in the chaos of loss, in the noise of fame, suddenly finding stillness in a sound that's been calling out for centuries. It's beautiful, man. It's raw, it's human, because that's what faith is at its core. Because it's not just a belief system, it's rhythm, it's structure, it's meaning. And when he heard that, I think something ancient in him woke up, like a memory he didn't know he had. That recognition, that peace isn't found in silence. It's found in surrender. Ta-da, you ever notice, man, how sometimes the most profound moments in life come when you least expect them? You're not in a church, you're not meditating, you're not even looking for some deep answer. You're just there. And something clicks. That's what I think happened with Liam. He wasn't out there on some spiritual retreat. He was filming a movie. Cameras, chaos, calls sheets, just another day in the business. But then that Adhan hit him, and for the first time in a long time, he wasn't acting. He was just feeling. No script, no director telling him how to react. It was pure. Because the Adhan doesn't ask you to perform. It doesn't demand you to understand Arabic or memorize theology. It just tells you, pause, God is greater. And that right there, man, that's universal. That's what gets people. You can be atheist, agnostic, spiritual, but not religious, doesn't matter. When that sound rolls through the air, something inside you feels it. It's like your soul remembers something your brain forgot. Ta-ta. And I think that's why Liam talked about it the way he did. He didn't say, oh, I'm converting tomorrow. He said it made him rethink life. That's huge, because when you start questioning life, you're already on a spiritual path, whether you call it that or not. And I think he saw in Islam something most people miss. The peace isn't just in the belief, it's in the rhythm. 5 times a day, a moment to reset, to breathe, to let go. That's like meditation, but with purpose. That's structure. That's alignment. And imagine him walking through those old streets in Istanbul, man. The sun setting, the air thick with the smell of spices, people stopping in the middle of everything just to bow, just to pray. That moment must have felt like stepping outside of time, because in the West, we don't stop. We're always running to the next meeting, the next project, the next notification. But there, when the Adhan plays, the world just slows down. For 5 minutes, ego disappears, and that's powerful, man. That's sacred. And maybe that's what really resonated with him. Not just the beauty of the sound, but the discipline behind it. The idea that peace isn't something you find. It's something you train for. That's what Islam does. It's not about just believing. It's about building peace into your schedule, your habits, your life. It's like a spiritual workout 5 times a day. And for someone like Liam, who's lived through pain, loss, fame, that must have felt like discovering a kind of inner fitness that the world never taught him. And man, think about this. When someone like Liam Neeson, who's lived a life that most people only dream about, suddenly pauses and feels peace from something so simple, so ancient. That's saying something. Because this is a guy who's been everywhere. Red carpets, premieres, the wild energy of Hollywood. He's seen it all. He's tasted both the fame and the emptiness that comes with it. And still, what got to him wasn't some luxury, not some therapy session or self-help seminar. It was a voice echoing from a minaret at dawn. That's the thing about the Adhan. It's not trying to sell you peace. It is peace. You hear that voice, Hayya alas Salah, come to prayer. And even if you don't understand the words, you get it. It's a call to return, to align, to come home. And Liam, standing there in Turkey, probably didn't even know he was looking for that. But when he heard it, he felt it. You can hear that when he talks about it. That's not someone trying to sound deep. That's someone who got hit by something real, and he can't quite put it into words. It reminds me of how disconnected the modern world has become. We build these huge cities, glass towers, surround ourselves with lights, sound, and distraction. But we've lost the heartbeat of silence. We've lost the reminder that there's something bigger than our problems. The Adhan cuts through that. It doesn't care what you're doing. It just says, stop. There's something greater than this. That's what shook him, man. That feeling that life isn't random. There's order. There's a pattern. And he got a glimpse of it through sound. Chada. And you can almost imagine what was going through his head. What if this is what peace actually feels like? Not winning an award, not finishing a movie, not scrolling through attention, but standing still in a moment of surrender. Because that's what Islam means at its core. Peace through submission. Not submission in a negative way, submission in the sense of releasing control, letting go of all the noise and just trusting the flow of the universe. And that right there, man, is what modern humans crave. Everyone's chasing something, success, pleasure, attention, but deep down they're just trying to fill that spiritual void. And Liam, without even planning it, stumbled upon the sound that speaks directly to that void. It's wild how that works. You can spend your whole life searching for meaning, and then one random morning in Turkey you hear a voice call out, God is greater, and suddenly everything inside you just quiets. Da-da-da. You know what's wild, man? In the West, peace has become this luxury item. Like, you gotta pay for it. Yoga retreats, mindfulness apps, noise-canceling headphones. It's like we're trying to buy silence to package spirituality into a subscription plan. But over there, in places like Istanbul or Cairo or Mecca, peace is part of the air. It's built into the architecture of the streets, the rhythm of life. The Adhan isn't a commercial. It's a public reminder that the world doesn't revolve around your schedule. And I think that's what Liam Neeson was feeling. That deep sense that peace doesn't need to be purchased. It's already available. If you just stop long enough to hear it, Imagine that a man from the busiest industry in the world standing still because of a call to prayer. That's the contrast. That's the beauty. Because the modern system trains you to move faster, work harder, chase everything. But that call tells you, slow down. You were never in control anyway, and that truth can be terrifying or healing depending on how awake you are when you hear it. I picture him walking those streets, man, between takes, camera crews packing up, the city alive around him, and then suddenly the adhan rolls through the air. It's not one voice, it's hundreds, layered from different mosques, each slightly out of sync like this cosmic echo. And he just stands there listening. That moment must have felt like time had stopped, because everything else fades, the chatter, the traffic, the noise, and you just hear this pure invitation to peace. And for a guy like Liam, who's carried heavy grief, who's seen the fragility of life up close, that sound probably hit him like a wave. Because grief teaches you something fame never can. How temporary everything is. And when you've lived with that truth long enough, the idea of surrender doesn't feel like weakness anymore. It feels like freedom. That's what Islam offers, man. Not a religion of rules, but a rhythm of release. That's what he felt in that call. The permission to let go. So you can see why it moved him. Because here's this faith saying, you don't have to have all the answers. Just stop, bow, breathe, remember. That's not dogma. That's therapy for the soul. And in that moment, I think Liam wasn't listening to a religion. He was listening to truth. A kind of truth that doesn't need translation. Because it speaks to the human part of you, not the cultural one. That's why he said it gave him peace. Because real peace doesn't come from understanding everything. It comes from realizing you don't have to. Ta-da! And it's kind of poetic, right? The way life throws these moments at you when you're not even looking, like Liam Neeson. This man's lived through love, loss, success, all of it. And yet, what pierced through all that armor wasn't a therapist or a philosophy book or a role in some deep film. It was a few words sung from a minaret in the early morning. That's what gets me, man. That's how truth works. It doesn't need a stage. It just is. When he said it made him rethink life, I don't think he meant religion specifically. I think he meant the structure of it all. The way we live, the way we rush, the way we fill our days with noise just to avoid facing that quiet voice in our heads. Because that's what the Adhan forces you to confront: silence. Not emptiness, but presence. You hear it and you realize you've been asleep while calling it being busy. You've been chasing everything except the thing that actually fills you. And for someone like Liam, that probably hit hard. Because when you lose people you love, when you've already seen how fragile everything is, your mind starts reaching for something stable, something eternal. And then here comes this sound. 5 times a day, without fail, calling millions of people to turn toward the same direction, to bow to the same truth. That's powerful. It's not about control. It's about unity. It's about remembering that you're part of something massive, something cosmic. That's what Islam offers in its purest form: alignment. The human being and the universe sensing back up, like tuning an instrument that's gone off key. And maybe that's what Liam felt. That moment when everything else fades, your grief, your achievements, your plans, and you just exist, present, small, but connected. That's not a religion thing. That's a human thing. Man, it's wild how that one sound, a voice calling people to prayer, has survived wars, empires, colonization, everything. Still standing, still calling, still calming hearts from centuries ago to right now. And that same voice that echoed through desert air in the 7th century is now echoing in the heart of an actor standing on a modern film set in Turkey. That's not coincidence. That's continuity. That's timelessness. And that's probably what Liam saw in it. Something unshakable. Because everything else in the world is moving, collapsing, changing. But this sound, this reminder, it's been here all along, whispering the same truth. There's peace if you're willing to listen. And man, when you step back and look at it, it's almost poetic that someone like Liam Neeson, who's played warriors, protectors, men on missions, would be touched not by noise or battle or chaos, but by peace. That's the twist. Because the strongest people aren't the ones who conquer others. They're the ones who finally surrender to something bigger than themselves. And that's what that call did to him. It reminded him there's strength in stillness, not just in motion. He didn't need to understand every word. He just felt it. Because the Adhan isn't just sound, it's intention. Every syllable, every note, it's carrying centuries of devotion, pain, hope, gratitude. You can't fake that. It's the sound of millions of people saying, we, remember? And I think when Liam stood there listening, part of him remembered too, remembered what peace actually feels like, that quiet pulse under the noise of life. And honestly, man, that's what most of us are starving for. Real connection, real meaning. Something that doesn't fade the second the screen turns off or the applause dies down. That's why stories like his hit so hard, because they remind us that peace isn't something you chase, it's something you uncover. It's been buried under years of distraction and ego and fear, but it's still there, waiting for that one sound, that one moment to wake it up again. Sata, I think Liam's story says something bigger about all of us. We're all searching for that calm, that sense that there's order in the universe, that we're not just floating through chaos. And Islam in that moment gave him a glimpse of it. Through that one call to prayer, it was like the universe whispered, you can rest now. You don't have to carry it all. And maybe that's what he meant when he said it gave him peace. Not a surface level calm, not temporary relief, but that deep, grounding kind of peace that sits in your chest and says, it's okay. And man, that's universal. You don't have to be Muslim to feel it. You just have to be human enough to listen.
这样，listen，这样。